Welcome, it's Jeremy Allen Gould. I'm coming to you today to confirm between God and of man that in fact the rumors that you have all heard are true. I started this podcast because I freaking love music. I was privileged enough to book amazing artists and bands in the past, and I was lucky enough to stay in touch with many of them to this day. This is a place to hear their stories. Thank you so much for riding along on this journey, and I hope you enjoy what you hear. With that said, the rumors are definitely true. Welcome to the latest episode of the Rumors Are True podcast. My name is Jeremy, and today I welcome Devon VonBalson, the drummer from the band Flipturn. Known Devon and his family for quite a while. His father and I and his mother and I grew up together. So it's just a cool conversation with an incredibly talented and gifted drummer. And I'm really stoked for his family, his band. They're crushing it right now. So I hope you really enjoy this conversation, and be sure to add me on the Rumors Are True cast on Instagram and the Rat podcast on Facebook. And I really appreciate the support, and tell your friends, guys. Here's the latest episode with Devon VonBalson. Devon VonBalson, what's up, dude?
What is good, Jeremy Allen Gould?
How are you?
I am doing just fine now that I'm back in Florida and I'm feeling the humidity and the heat. It was very much missed. It's
absolutely. Are you back at home with your parents?
Yeah, back at the house. Got to hang with my siblings, Sadie and Cooper, and yeah, it's just good to be back with the family, man.
Absolutely. What do you got going on now? Now that you're off tour?
Well, so just rest days right now. We only have a couple because this weekend we're doing Okeechobee Festival down in South Florida.
Oh, I've been to that. It's awesome.
Dude, it'll be my first time. Flipturn's played before, but it'll be my first go at it, and I've heard really good things. So we are super stoked.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So tell me about that last tour you just went on. It looked nuts.
Dude, it was incredible, and it was very fast paced too. Like that was the first time we've done. It was just 4 weeks, and it was 5 on, 2 off every week, and we've never done a tour like that. It's always been like 2 shows, 3 shows, a day off, like got travel days, but we were just knocking them out like crazy, and it was a blast. I don't know if I ever want to tour in like early February and late January ever again, just because of how cold it is in the Northeast. Like we have never loaded in the snow before, and as like Florida people, that was intense. That was that was crazy. I mean, I'm glad we did it. It was fun, but there were moments where I was like, oh my God, I can't feel my fingers. This is crazy.
My gosh. Dude, that's nuts.
Dude, it was so surreal though. The entire tour sold out, and
that is insane.
It was crazy. People showed up and were singing the tunes, and I mean, it was just incredible. So
what does that feel like when people are just like losing it?
Oh my God. I mean, it's unreal. It's everything I've wanted to be a part of. Like growing up, I would watch my favorite artists put on shows, and I would hear crowds. I was like, man, if I could just like create these moments for people, this would be the most fulfilling thing. So it's very full circle, and it's super surreal and fulfilling. So yeah, I feel like every tour we get off of now, I'm just like overwhelmed with like all these positive emotions. So yeah, it was really good, man. I almost like haven't had enough time to let it all settle in. You know
That's sick.
Yeah.
What was the biggest show? Was it that Georgia Theater one in Athens?
Yeah, it was definitely Georgia Theater.
That place is nuts.
It was crazy, man. And like seeing all of the signed names on the walls, like the stairwell leading down to the stage. It's just the amount of history in that room is crazy.
Yep.
Definitely the biggest Flipturn headliner so far. I think it's just a little over 1,000 cap. So playing in a room like that is awesome. It was a good feeling.
What a moment. That's really cool, dude.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Sweet, man. Well, let's get into this. I know some of your story, but I don't know if other people do. So I thought I would ask, tell me what growing up was like for you. Kind of what family life was like and music in your life and kind of records and bands and influences. Just kind of tell me about you.
Yeah, man. I had it real good growing up. I feel like I have the coolest parents ever.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
You know, my dad, Mike, and my mom, Shannon, and they're just incredibly sweet people, and they're artists as well. Like my mom's a singer and my dad plays drums and was in a bunch of really cool bands. And I feel like as a kid, getting to be around all of that and like growing up in those atmospheres and like hanging with those people, watching my dad do it, it probably like subconsciously left such a great impression on me, like more than I realized, you know? So I felt like I was always hearing Shangri-La practices and, you know, getting to go early morning to church gigs and stuff. And I always loved it. So, and they always put me on, like I would listen to whatever it was they were listening to. Like early music love was Jimmy Eat World and Sun Bears and, you know, my dad's band Shangri-La.
Amazing band.
Dude, yeah, Dashboard Confessional, like all these like emo rock bands. I don't even know, like, how would you describe that genre? Because
rock and roll, emo. Yeah, I mean, it's all kind of the lines are blurred now, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, those were definitely early influences, and I don't think I understood like as a kid that not everybody at like the Baptist school I was going to listen to that type of stuff. So I remember there's this one time where I got up in front of it was like first day of kindergarten. They had the whole class. It was a small school. They had each kid come up and like sing their favorite song for like a second. And like everybody would be like, oh, like My Little Sunshine, or like Jesus Loves Me or something. And I got up and I was like, yeah, takes my pain away. Like full Jimmy World. That's
amazing.
This kid's crazy.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I just had no idea. It was I look back very fondly on growing up.
I bet. Man, dude, your family means like so much to me, and I'm not trying to take the floor here, but Mike and Shannon, your parents, I've known for so long, and I love them dearly, and they have all three of you kids are incredible. It's so awesome to see you guys like crush in whatever you do. And I just am so stoked that you guys are all in my life. Like, I'm really, really thankful for that.
Bro, that's a two-way street. I think that was also a really cool part. Like, I always felt like I was friends with my dad's friends. He just seemed to surround himself with such great people. So, yes. I mean, having you a part of my life has been such a joy. So, I mean, it's awesome getting to hop on this cast. It's really cool. Man.
I really appreciate it again.
Yeah.
Sweet, man. Well, let's talk about some of, of course, your dad was a drummer. And you said subconsciously it started to kind of peak its way. When did you start to play drums? When was that kind of coming around?
Yeah, I think I was always hitting on drums just because it was always in the house, and I'd see my dad do it. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is a thing. And I was probably like 9 or 10 when I really took an interest in it. And I don't know. I think, I was listening to a lot of Mute Math at the time.
Yeah, I can see that.
They were a super big influence, and my dad kind of pushed me to try out for like youth worship at church, and that was going really well. And I attribute a lot of my chops and reps to those early days. That was when I was like 15 when I really started doing that. But from like 12 to 15, I was really practicing. I really liked the drums. I was kind of deciding between like theater and music. Like I didn't know which I was into more. And And then I went and I saw a bunch of shows because I was finally like old enough, like I could go around and be in those atmospheres. And Big Ticket Festival happened. I think it was 2016.
Yeah, I think I was working that.
Yeah. So, and that was the one that 21 Pilots was headlining.
Yeah.
And I remember that lineup was freaking crazy. I mean, like Neighborhood was on it, Mute Math had a slot, Walk the Moon. And that was a really cool time for the alternative scene. And I think that era of music left such an impression on me. But I remember seeing Mute Math set, and I was like on the barricade because they were my favorite band. And I had no idea. I had no idea that the live show, like the atmosphere in the live setting, could be 100 million times more impactful. So getting to hear those songs, see them crush it, like watching Darren King live, I saw it and I was like, this is everything I want to do. This is the coolest thing. This is the greatest feeling. Clado was right behind me during that show, and he was cracking up because I would turn around and like my jaw would be dropped like every second. So I think that show was really what like confirmed it for me. I was like, okay, I want to do this. Like, I don't care who I'm playing for or like what's happening. I want to perform like this. I want to do this thing. So yeah, and then I went into a very hard Mute Math phase and just started like really studying like everything Darren did, and eventually I got really into Phoenix and all these like physical, super high energy drummers. Thomas Headland from Phoenix is a beast. Yeah. So I was feeding off of all these people and then digging back into early Shangri-La stuff and being like, wow, like, my dad does this too. And I don't know, it all left such a big impression on me. And I think that's what set me on the path. That was like the early inspiration, Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely can hear those influences of those drummers you mentioned in your playing. And then of course your dad as well. I mean, your dad is a phenomenal drummer. So it's like, for me, seeing both of you play, it's so similar, but it's different, if that makes sense. And it's just cool. Like you're a chip off the old block, really. I mean, it really is what it boils down to.
Genetics are weird, man.
Yeah, they really are. And I know your dad's smiling with the biggest grin on his face when you're playing. Like he's, your biggest fan.
It's a cool feeling, like getting to see him. They came to the last show that we did.
Oh, Georgia.
In Tallahassee.
Oh, Tallahassee.
Actually, yeah. We did 2 shows at 926 Bar. The last night was my birthday.
Oh, that's right.
Super special.
Happy belated, by the way.
Thanks. Yeah, it was cool having the family there, but getting to see like my dad side stage or like out there somewhere, it's a good feeling. It keeps me going,
That's so cool. I love that. So tell me some about once you started getting the drums going and playing at church and whatnot. When did you start, maybe saying, hey, I want to make a band and kind of talk about your first bands?
Yeah, so my buddies in high school, like around that time, like 9th grade, Jonas Miller, Chase Barrett, Joseph Arns, those were the dudes that I spent so much time with as a kid, and we kind of grew up together in church. I met Jonas from Jude Cawley from Shangri-La. Yeah. His brother was Jonas's father, and we kind of met at a reunion I think it was here at this house. It was like some Shangri-La reunion or somebody's birthday, and we hit it off instantly. So we started making music because we all thought it was really cool, and that was the first experience I've ever had with like writing songs and working together with other people and booking shows locally. And I'm so thankful for that experience, getting to like Christina Wagner from Rain Dogs.
Yeah.
Like, really she took us under her wing and like let us like headline her stage at that venue. And we were just kids, like we didn't know what we were doing.
I think I had you guys play with Unwed Sailor too, I think.
That was the very first show. It was the very first show we did. Mock Shop. I think Banquet was on the bill too.
Yeah, Banquet.
It was before Joseph was even singing in the group, and we got to open for them, and that was super fun. I remember.
I just had him on the podcast.
Yeah, that's so crazy. It's so cool.
That's a good episode. He's incredible. Incredible guy.
And I was a big fan of Pedro and the Lion.
Oh yeah. Are you going, by the way? Are you gonna be gone there in April?
They're coming here, right?
Yeah, Jackrabbits.
I haven't confirmed if I'm in town or not. I need to look at those dates,
Cool.
But that would be such a crazy show to see.
It's gonna roll.
God.
He's incredible live. Have you seen him before?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw them at the Basement East in Nashville.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, and Me Without You opened, and that was a crazy lineup.
That is bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. Sick, dude. So after this first band that you had, it was Sola Fide, right? Sola Fide.
Yeah, Sola Fide. I don't know. We just kind of like picked some weird random Latin phrase that we thought sounded cool, so it doesn't matter. I think it's up for interpretation. Yeah. So then is kind of after that, is that kind of when you started playing with Johnnyswim? Is that right? Yeah. So Jonathan Berlin of Sun Bears, which this was so crazy for me at that age because I grew up on Sun Bears. And Berlin's like the coolest dude. Bowser is the craziest drummer. I freaking love that guy. And he had such a strong influence on my playing as well.
Yeah.
So, amazing. I idolized those dudes growing up in the local scene. But Berlin came to a Sola Fide show and was like, I like these guys. Like, guys, I'll record a song for y'all for free, which was such an incredible opportunity.
Sure.
And I am still so grateful for the experience. But he did a song with us. And I think through that, Berlin and I like worked together really well. And, shortly after that, I think the seat opened up last minute in Johnnyswim for a tour. And, because I was working with Berlin at the time, I think that's why he pitched my name to the crew. And I was a senior in high school. I was 18 years old at the time. And it just kind of all worked out. I think they hit my dad up first to make sure like they weren't, jacking up whatever I needed to finish at school. And I remember that being such a hectic process, but like my school was cool with it. I got to be able to finish stuff on the road, and it was like a early and elongated senior trip for me. That's like when I hopped on the summer of 2019, and I had never toured or done anything before that, and it was
first tour was on a bus.
Dude, first tour on a bus. I was spoiled rotten. It was such an incredible it was everything I'd ever wanted to do. Like, I couldn't have dreamt of that scenario.
That's happening. So cool.
But that was a blast. And I remember Abner and Amanda like leading songs at my church as a kid, so that was like really cool getting to reunite with them and hop on that tour. So yeah, still super humbled and grateful for that experience. Incredible.
Absolutely. What are some of the tours you did with them? Did you do it with anyone pretty big, or?
So it was that Moonlight tour. They put out that Moonlight record, and we did that summer of 2019. And then I think it was just like the festival season after that. I got to play Moon River Festival, and we headlined the Nashville one, Live on the Green.
Okay.
Downtown Nashville. And I think that's still the biggest show I've ever played. That's like 12,000 people. That was a cool feeling. So it was all really hectic, and like it was crazy. All that coming out of nowhere, like going from like Jackrabbits with my band to these crazy shows, crazy big shows, playing like their tunes. All that was, I don't even have the words for it. It was crazy.
I'm gonna ask you the dumbest question.
Do it.
Are you nervous when you play in front of that many people? How does that feel?
I think I definitely then, like, I was always nervous, and I would just kind of convert that nervous energy into like physical stage energy. Yeah. Where I'm at now, I think the only time I'm like really nervous, because I'm so comfortable with what I'm doing on stage, it's always like pre-show anticipation and like anxiousness. I'm like 10 minutes before a show, heart rate speeding up and like palms a little bit sweaty, but I get out on stage and everything's okay. Like, I'm able to enter a show mode, and that's, I don't know, I feel very comfortable on stage.
Well, you look comfortable, so
good.
Half the battle.
It is half the battle, dude. It's like 50% of it. But yeah, so I guess, yes, still get nervous, still get super excited, but way more comfortable with it now, for sure.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get to meet? I know this is a nerdy question, but my wife would kill me if I didn't ask you.
Yeah.
You got to meet Chip and Joanna Gaines, right? From
Yeah.
Fixer
'Cause
Upper. Your parents went out
yeah,
there, right?
they did. They came to that show because they do the festival there in Waco, Texas. Magnolia.
Oh, yeah.
I forget what it's called, but yeah, that was really cool too. And there were so many experiences like that on that tour that really just kind of taught me like, oh, everybody's people, and there's no such thing as like, I don't know, the hierarchy that you're able to give to like people that are super influential and have a lot of like a huge following.
Sure.
It just kind of showed me like, oh, like we're the same, like we're all just people, we're all working together doing our own thing. Because like we did the Today Show on that tour, and it was the same day. It was the same day that the Secret Life of Pets cast was in doing some sort of an interview. So like Kevin Hart was there, and like all these crazy voice actors, Patton Oswalt, like just chilling. And like,
what were you thinking when you were there? Were you like, oh my God?
Bro, it was a fever dream. I could have never put it. It's the stuff I would literally like dream about. Like, oh, that was really weird and random. I can't believe I had that dream last night. Like Kevin Hart cracking jokes to us right before we go on. That was
What the heck?
I think that was the scariest moment of my life. Like doing the Today Show. Those cameras look like the insides of the animatronics at Disney. Like they're super huge, and I don't know. It's just super fast paced. So it's like, and you're on. And
you're playing for millions, really. Like,
yeah. I mean, so yeah. Then you think about that, and it's like,
yeah.
Oh my God, this is nuts. Yeah. So a lot of experiences like that. It just kind of showed me and taught me at a younger age, like, okay, the world is super small, and you're always like one person away from somebody, and everybody's just people, So
yeah.
I think that's the main thing I'm grateful for from that tour. Like other than the chops and like, cutting my teeth and getting reps in, doing live shows and being able to handle that sort of pressure, because that's definitely helped me a ton. But just the life experiences from it were really good too.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. So after Johnnyswim, you obviously decided to go a different route. And what is that kind of? What did you do in between that time before you joined Flipturn?
Well, so that was like when the pandemic started. It was the Johnnyswim stuff slowed down because they were off the road, and I think there was like spot dates here and there. But really, when the world kind of shut down, that's when, I don't know, plans were changing and stuff was looking different. Like I did some like at home recording. I like learned how to record myself at home because Johnnyswim was doing stuff. But I think through that time I realized like, okay, I have no idea when live stuff's going to start up again. And, Johnnyswim always has a rotating cast of musicians, just incredible musicians all the time. So I was like, all right, I need to figure out where to like focus my energy. And Mitch Fountain, who is now keyboardist and guitarist in Flipturn, we kind of hit it off during that season, or like at the beginning of the pandemic or right beforehand. And I literally found him from scrolling on social media. He was on my Explore page from Instagram. I was like, this dude's local and he's a shredder and I want to work with this guy. So I literally I shot him a DM. I was like, man, you're awesome. Like, can we just do like a cover or something? Because that's kind of what I was doing at the time. I was like, okay, I'll do all these cover videos. And he's like, yeah. So we hit it off from that. We started becoming friends, and we would kind of always geek out about Flipturn locally because they would draw so hard in the local scene. And our bands, like Solafita and his band Aster and Ivy, like we would hop on the bill with them knowing, okay, people are going to show up to the show and we're going to sell this out because they're headlining. And we would kind of geek out and be like, okay, like it would be really cool if only we could like join Flipturn. And like, we knew obviously that meant like members would have to like not be involved. But the keyboardist slot opened up and Mitch got in. And then he kind of like Trojan horsed me when the drummer seat opened up in the group. So I remember hopping on like a call with them, and they were like, you want to come practice with us and learn some songs? And it just sort of was a natural progression. And, I did some one-offs with them, became friends, and we eventually started writing together, and it has just taken off since then. It's been really cool. But that was early 2020, and I remember during the pandemic, since we weren't really playing shows and we weren't really able to do that, we took a writing trip to Phoenix, Arizona, or Apache Junction, which is like an hour outside of Phoenix in Arizona. But we did that drive, which is just, I mean, it's like 3 days of straight driving, just I-10 like the whole way. And I mean, I had never done anything like that at that time because it was van and trailer. And that was just such a cool experience. And we spent 2 weeks out there in a cabin in the desert, and that is just the complete opposite atmosphere from Florida.
Sure.
It's dry and there's no water or anything. So we were isolated, and that was our first creative experience with each other. And we cranked out most of what Shadowglow is now, our first record. Okay. A lot of those songs the early stages were written there at that cabin. But I think we, because of all that, it just sort of felt right, and it was super fulfilling. And I had always wanted to be a part of something like that. The Johnnyswim experience was crazy and incredible because those shows were awesome, and working with those people that I've looked up to was awesome. But I've definitely always wanted to be a part of something that's like my own,
that you're involved in
songs. Yeah, like my own creativity, like putting all of that in there, getting to see a song from the beginning and put it out there. So, I mean, once touring started back up and we started to play these songs and people caught on to them, it just kind of has a snowball effect from there. It's just been rolling and getting bigger. And
That's really insane.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
So before you guys, so you joined Flipturn, you start to write kind of the record, some demos, pre-production, all that stuff.
Yeah.
In before you sign with Dualtone, you guys are playing Lollapalooza, you're playing Bonnaroo. Like, tell me about that. That's Dude, like inconceivable. Like
it really is. I mean, those were dream festivals since I knew what a festival even was, you know what I mean? Like, because all of the big artists do those, and that's like how you like find music. Anybody that is a musician and playing shows, you aspire to play those festivals.
Yep.
So cramming them all into 1 year was the best experience, and it was so much fun. So I mean, last summer was just incredible. I found a lot of my favorite bands through those festivals, like a lot of like really cool, crazy acts like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard and Turnstile. Like that's how we found these groups that we've bonded over, and those experiences were just crazy. But yeah, we actually, so we signed to Dualtone at Bonnaroo, I think the day either before or after we played, I can't remember, but it was a pretty quick decision and progression. We had kind of all been on the same page of wanting to stay independent. Like we did Shadowglow independent. We worked with John Gilbert, who is a freaking incredible producer and such a sweet dude. And he just, I'm so thankful that we got to work with him on that. Because he really made these songs what they are today. But
was he stoked on the record?
He was super stoked. He had so much fun, and I think he said it was one of his favorite projects that he's worked on, which means a ton to us.
Totally.
Because I mean, anytime you get to work on something that you love, that just makes it so much more enjoyable. But yeah, so we were riding that high, that energy of like, oh, we love these songs, the producer loves these songs, and we're independent, and we're getting all these offers, and we're doing these festivals, and this is awesome. So we had that mentality of like, oh no, we'll just do it ourselves. Like we don't need no big label. And then Dualtone hit us up, and we started looking into them, and we knew that they had worked with Mountjoy, and that they've been working with the Lumineers their entire career. And there's a bunch of these artists that we look up to and we appreciate on the roster, and it was very appealing. And we got to meet. We met the team after we signed, but we knew that it was a very small team, and the offer that they pitched to us was not invasive, and it was very clean and like nothing slimy, and it just felt like logistically it would be a very mutually beneficial
for both of you
business relationship. Yep. And it was just, we couldn't have asked for any better offer. Like if we were ever to sign to any label, that would be the deal that we hoped for. So once we got that, it was really quick. We're like, you know what, this is going to take it to the next level. This will get our record in front of a lot of people and into new ears, and it just felt right. So when we literally signed electronically in like a little modular on Bonnaroo Festival grounds.
That's amazing.
And yeah, that's so like Gen Z. Like back in the day, it was like pen and paper, and now we're like, oh, let's just have one of our people type it out and boom, send it off via email. You know, so that was crazy. But yeah, they're such a sweet team. Very personable, relatable, hardworking, diligent. Yeah, I couldn't be happier that we're on that label now. It's been a great experience.
So did they just go ahead and, since you said you guys did Shadowglow by yourself, did they just let you license it, or is that kind of how it worked?
Yeah, it's like we completely own all the masters. And like I said, nothing's invasive or anything. The way that they roll is they really trust the artist. You know, they believe in the artist, and you know, they can only hold like it. Like let's say we put out another record with them, right? So we're writing, we have these songs. They're not allowed to hold the masters from release for more than like 2 years, which a lot of artists get screwed with that because it's a big label and they get put on the back burner and they're like on the shelves, and it's kind of forgotten because they know it's not going to be like the moneymaker. So bigger labels are investing into what they think is going to be the most profitable, you know. And Dualtone really doesn't work like that. They believe in the artist, they believe in the authenticity, and they just trust all of that. So we have so much freedom, and it just feels like an extension of the team, like the management that we're already with, like Atlas Touring, which I have so much pride in. They're the coolest people ever. And they crush. We wouldn't be able to do anything we do without them.
Who else is on the roster?
I know Shaky Graves.
Okay, yeah.
Is on that roster. Houndmouth.
Oh yeah, your dad loves them.
Yeah, dude. Crazy. So I can't remember off the top of my head like everybody on the roster. It's not super huge, but just really incredible bands, and you know, a lot of people look up to those groups, and a lot of me and my band members also do so. So that's why it just felt right. And it's worked out really well since. Yeah, especially at your age, usually you hear the horror stories, and that's really cool that you guys, you know, have not only probably the deal of a lifetime, you know, in your world, but it's great to hear that, you know, labels aren't there to rip your head off or to, you know, to rob you, if you will. Not all. And I think that's the thing. I think labels are realizing you can't get away with that anymore. Was there any other labels that were interested at that time? I'm sure. And, you know, I don't think I saw all of the offers that were coming in, but I knew that we were kind of we had that mindset of turning pretty much anything down. Nothing really looked appealing. Like it would, nothing looked appealing, but, and our management wouldn't really tell, like they kind of they would handle all of that, and we would just trust them. So when we got that offer, they're like, this is too good to be true. We need to show them this and like, see if we can get them on board. And it worked out. That's really cool. So let's talk about the Shadowglow record, if you don't mind. Just like tell me kind of your thoughts on it, kind of maybe some memories, some stories, and kind of maybe the recording process of it for you. Kind of, you know, it doesn't have to be super deep. Just kind of tell me what your thoughts on it. So, I mean, that was the first full length that I've ever worked on, which I've always wanted to do. And, you know, that the early process kind of started at that cabin that I mentioned in Arizona. And I think we worked on it over the course of a year and a half. You know, we got about 5 songs to that cabin. We spent more time writing other tunes kind of at their house in Fernandina. And we were looking for producers, and we got in touch with John Gilbert, and he had worked on Mount Joy's first record, so we loved what he did.
They're so good.
Hopped on they're freaking rippers, dude, and such sweet people. But and so is John. John is such a sweet dude, and when we got on a call with him, we knew, like, okay, this is our guy. Like, we're gonna work with John on this. So it was a different recording experience from what I had ever done. Up until then, I had only recorded locally, only recorded with all of my own gear, and it was like kind of like puzzle piece record. It's like, okay, we're gonna start with drums, then we're gonna do this, and it's gonna be produced. We're gonna put it all together one by one. And this was different because most of the songs on this record are all one take, like recorded live. And it's like what the drum tracks that I laid down, like I don't know how to put it. Whatever take I played, that was like the take we were gonna pick, whichever one that we all agreed on. So it's all that there wasn't really that many punch-ins or anything like that. There was production stuff we did, like obviously we would add layers. I got to add like percussion and all of that, but we flew out to LA and we worked in a couple different studios. We worked in John's home studio a lot of the time. Not for tracking drums. We'd get bigger rooms for that. There was a couple different studios in LA, and yeah, that process was just really fun and really fast paced. We just cranked them all out, all the songs that we had in 2 weeks. And John really he was super encouraging and super diligent and made the process so easy and enjoyable for everybody. So it was really cool. And I'm glad that we did that record the way that we did it, because I think that's where Flipturn's sound kind of thrives. It's that like live energy. So getting to all play together in the same room for like a foundation take, and then like going back and like adding stuff on top of it and like fixing that and making that original take feel good. I think that was a process that needed to happen for this record, because there's just something about that energy. I like the rawness and the authenticity of it. I think it really summed up the sound that we had, like when we first started working together, and then the live shows coming after that. So yeah, I'm super proud of it.
What was everything written when you went into the studio, or did you guys write stuff in the studio?
Mostly. I think there was one song. There's a track called Take Care on Shadowglow, and that song we finished writing in the studio, because sometimes there's like, you don't really know what you want to do with a song, and then you get into a studio and there's an instrument you've never seen before, or I don't know, the room has a weird like acoustic or resonance or something feels right, and you pull from that, or you try something and it feels good. So that song got finished in there. I remember seeing a xylophone and like messing with it and be like, oh, like this needs to be in the song, and there's a bunch of synths that made it in there. So it kind of, that one was the one that I would say we puzzle pieced together, and yeah, that was really fun putting that one together. But all the others we demoed out and had ready to go, and John would hear the demos that we sent to him and give us notes, and we would kind of refine it. But we had everything pretty much ready when we flew out there to
that
LA.
Probably helped the process a ton. You're going, you're dialed in, you're good to go.
It did, absolutely.
That's sick.
So it was really cool, and like I said, like it was the first time I hadn't used all of my own gear. I flew out there with my snare, my cymbals, and other than that, we were kind of working with the shells, like the drums that the studios had provided. So we would kind of mess with like the heads and like the tuning, and got those right. And that was new for me, because I'm used to working with all my own stuff, but it kind of taught me, oh, you can make anything sound good and fit. And I think it also kind of helped create the sound that the record has acoustically. So yeah, it was super cool.
What's your favorite record, or excuse me, what's your favorite song on that record, and what's your favorite song to play live
Oof,
on that record?
dude, I think it's the same song live and on the record, and it's the track "Goddamn," which, sorry to all of my my church friends or anybody that's offended by that, but if you listen to the song, you'll realize, oh, like it's nothing
Sure.
like that. It's about like how it sucks how cheap it is to get affirmation like from social media and all of that, and like how I kind of hate that, like the internet, social media. Like there's a lyric that's like, love is cheap like cigarettes, and yeah, it's like the most like rocky, punky, high energy song on the record. So that one's really fun, and it has like hints of Shang energy in it, and I think that's why it's a little bit nostalgic for me. So I love that song, and that one's super fun to play live because the energy, it goes hard. That track, and then Hollow. I love the way Hollow sounds. I've always wanted to create a sound like that. That one feels more mute mathy to me, so it was fulfilling getting to do a track like that. And we hadn't played it live until this tour that we just did this winter, and we finally got to a place where it's feeling good in the live setting too. So I'm really proud of those two tracks.
That's awesome. After the record came out, you just hit the road, I guess. Was it support for Mount Joyride, and what else did you have going on from that?
Yeah, we had some support dates with Mount Joy, with Rainbow Kitten Surprise. I think the first tour that we did with the new Shadowglow songs was with Will Dorado.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was early 2022. So
great.
Same time, like, oh my God, they're incredible. Like so tight, and they have such a great sound on stage and in the records, but they're also just the sweetest dudes. It was kind of like touring with your cool uncle, but like times 5. Like they are just the sweetest, most accommodating, fun guys to be around. So that was an incredible tour. I miss those guys tons.
Your dad turned me onto them. I had never heard of them. I was like, I love the band name, and I'm like, I'm probably gonna like them. And so,
yeah, no, they're awesome. They're awesome. So we did that tour. Those support dates with Mount Joy and Rainbow Kitten Surprise, and the first headline tour that we did for the record was last fall. So in the fall of 2022, that was the start of the Shadowglow tour. And that's when we really saw, because that was like, we put out the record and did the tour. So early on, it was cool getting to play those songs. And then towards the end, the more and more, like the more shows that we did, we realized, oh, people know these songs now. Like they're singing them. And some nights they're screaming them louder back to us than we are to them. And that's when it really started feeling, I mean, that was the coolest feeling. A song that I had never worked on a song like start to finish, and then toured it, and then got to hear people like learn the song and connect with it, and then go super hard with it live. So cool. That's the first experience I've had with that, and it's incredible. It's addicting. It's the best feeling. It's all I wanted to do. So the last 2 tours have just been nuts.
What are the like when the Flipturn fans, what do they say to you? Like, what's, are they just freaking out, or like, are they like, Devon, you're the man? You're like, how's the conversation like?
Well, we have such sweet fans, man, and we don't get to talk to as many people now, just because of the flow of show. Like we finish, we take a breather, and then we have like a lighting package now, so we spend a lot of time tearing that down.
Sure.
We still get to talk to some people every now and then, and it depends on the venue and how long people wait outside to talk to us. But man, it's just so cool because people are, I mean, they'll tell us how much they're connecting with their songs and like what it means to them, and like the memories they've created with them, how they're speaking to them. And it's really cool to see how the songs are taking new meaning with other people's experiences. And yeah, people are just so sweet, so freaking sweet. Like, we get so much encouragement and love from our fans, and it's cool to meet aspiring drummers and other drummers on the road and other people that are wanting to do the thing, because I've always wanted to tour and write music and play shows, and then like have that light a spark in somebody else.
Yeah.
Like what bands I looked up to growing up did for me. So getting to see that actually happen night to night is very, very full circle and very fulfilling. Yeah, our fans are the sweetest people in the world. They're so awesome.
Well, I'll be real with you. I have yet to see you guys live, so I need to come see you guys next time. Maybe the Jacksonville shows.
Yeah, we just announced those. I was just about to say, finally coming back to Duval. Intuition Hill Works.
I love that you tagged Trevor Lawrence. I think that's the coolest thing in the world.
It would be the coolest thing in the world if he showed up. I'm not gonna lie. We'll bring him on stage.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what a season for the Jags.
Oh,
that was the most I've ever gotten into football ever. Trevor Lawrence is the freaking man.
Yeah, he is. He's a sweetie for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sick, dude. So I put a thing up. I haven't done this on the podcast yet, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to do it every once in a while. And I put out a post where people could ask you some questions. So I got some here, and I was gonna see what you say. So
yeah, let's do it.
Johnny Nail.
Oh, Johnny, I love Johnny.
Yeah. Who are your biggest drumming inspirations and why? And we kind of talked about that earlier, but go ahead and.
Yeah, we talked about a few. So I'd say my dad, Mike VonBalson, Darren King. Those are probably the two strongest. Just incredible drummers. Jared Bowser from Sun Bears. I need to make sure I don't butcher last names. I wrote down the first and last names of a lot of these drummers because I knew that this would probably come up. Heath Metzger from Mock Orange.
He's so good.
I'm a huge fan of Mock Orange, and Heath is such a dude. Big inspiration. Thomas Headland from Phoenix. Casey Dietz from the Velveteen is insane. Yeah. Aaron Sterling, Nate Smith, all of these dudes. Anybody that has deep pocket and is very physical and they're playing and looks like they're enjoying what they're doing when they're drumming. I love those dudes. Oh, and kind of like current legends right now. Will Chapman from Colony House.
He's
insane
great.
Drummer. My buddy Troy Bruner from Little Image also just
that band's nuts. Great. I love that band. Good
Lord. And they're on tour together right now. My family just got to see him at House of Blues Orlando, and that's a crazy lineup. So
that's nuts.
And those dudes are sweeties, and they're also just absolute animals on stage.
That's awesome.
Yeah, all of those cats really look up to and enjoy their drumming.
Dope. Here's one from Emily One All Music. I think that's how you say it. Okay. When you're listening to music, do you tend to critique the drums?
Yeah, honestly, definitely. But maybe not critique. I don't know if critique would be the word. I think it's just kind of the first thing that I notice. I'll say like the music is definitely what I hear first, and the lyrics and all of that are kind of lost on me unless I spend enough time, unless I'm intentional about listening to it. There's still some of my favorite songs that I don't know all of the lyrics to, just because I'm really like affected.
Fixated on the drums.
The music. Yeah, the drums, the music, not just the drums, but I definitely, I pay really close attention to like the tuning, like the feel, fills and tones and all that. I think I'm definitely biased because I'm a drummer, and that's probably why. But
sure.
Yeah, I'd say I definitely zone in on that first. Absolutely.
Here's one from Rowdy Kyler. What's it feel like to travel the country and meet fans while playing sold out crowds? You kind of answered that earlier, but
yeah, dude, it's just such a freaking dream come true. It's a joy. It's full circle. It's surreal. I don't think there's anything else I'd rather be doing. in this season of life. It's everything I've wanted to do, and I want to continue doing it as much as possible. Nothing like it. Best job in the world.
That's awesome. Smokey loves me. How much do you love your mother?
More than anybody in this entire world. My mom is the best mother ever. She is the sweetest, funniest, prettiest person, and yeah, I love her. Love you, Mom, if you're listening. You're the
She'll
best.
listen. She'll listen.
Yeah, she'll listen.
Okay, this is a good one. Julian Baker's Donut Tattoo asks, desperately need to know, is he Team Starbucks or Team Dunkin'?
Team Dunkin' all of the way. You can quote me on that rest of my life. Starbucks is not the GOAT. Dunkin' is the GOAT. They're the best. Cheap coffee for the win. It's tasty. It's sugary. America runs on Dunkin', not on Starbucks. So let's go Dunkin'.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
That's right.
Alejandro Hernandez, 31. There's some underscores in there. I'm too lazy to say. Your favorite city to play, and then I'll say what's your favorite venue to play.
That's a really tough question, and yeah, it's hard because I also don't want to rule out a bunch of other cool cities. I'm probably gonna take the easy way out, but it's my honest answer. My favorite place to play is Jacksonville, Florida. It's Duval. I think hometown shows just go the hardest. Florida in general, there's an energy here, and I think it's because a lot of artists kind of skip Florida on tour. Logistically, It's harder to get down here. I think it's less frequent that we get bands playing shows here. You kind of have to travel to go see shows most of the time. So I'd say Florida shows go harder than any others. But in like close second or third, I mean, New York is super fun. I love the Bowery Ballroom in New York City. That's a great room. Denver, Colorado, anywhere in Colorado is a blast to play.
Oh yeah, great spot. I lived there for a little bit. It's great.
And Austin, Texas is really fun too. The energy there has always been great. There's a lot of, I mean, it always just depends on, the people that are showing up. But I think Duval kind of takes the cake for me. Incredible city. Favorite venue though. Okay, I'll say I have a new favorite venue, and we just played it on this run. And I never thought I'd say this, but it's in Birmingham, Alabama, and it's the Saturn in Birmingham.
Oh, nice.
It's a crazy venue. The room is super cool. It feels good on stage. The energy was awesome. But then the green room is so massive, and it's so hip, and it's accommodating. Awesome. They got like bunks, like king size tour bunks stacked on each other, and a full kitchen and multiple bathrooms and pinball machines and washer and dryer, just everything that you could ask for.
That's so cool.
On the road. We got to stay there the night after we played the venue, and it's all connected, and there's a coffee shop connected there too, and those people are super sweet. So yeah, the Saturn in Birmingham, Alabama, I think is one of the coolest venues in North America. It's awesome.
Got one more for you. At Naughty Pickle. What is your dream lineup?
Dream lineup for like a tour, or
well, let's say let's say a tour. Let's say a tour, and then let's say a show.
Okay. For a tour, I mean, good God, there's just so many bands. I got to see Phoenix live, and that was really cool. So maybe a show with Phoenix. Maybe, if Mute Math ever did anything ever again, I would kill to see Mute Math live again. And man, I want to see Mock Orange really badly. So I want Mock Orange, Mute Math, and Phoenix all on a bill. I know that is like that would never happen in a million years, but that would be my dream lineup because I love those bands. And if there was a show, like that'd be a cool tour, like maybe something like that. But then a show, I want Shangri-La on there too. Maybe the same bands. Dude, there's just so many. That is a very tough question from the Naughty Pickle. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I think it's probably the same answer for both touring, one show. A festival would just be too long to name. It'd be all of my favorite artists. Maybe maybe I make a playlist and it's just everybody on that playlist or something. That'd be crazy.
Dude, side note, I just heard the mix that Griff did for the Shangri-La song. It's mind blowing.
Oh,
I know.
My God. Yeah.
I know. Your dad texted me and I was like, oh my God.
I think they'd be the best band in the world if their stuff was mixed at that level when they put the stuff out. I mean, Griffith, shout out to
Jeremy Griffith is ridiculous.
Dude, ridiculously talented, and he was super sweet to me when I was a kid because he would mix Solofita's stuff.
That's right. I forgot about that. I thought he did.
Yeah, and I mean, he crushed, and he gave us homie rates, and he's always just been the best dude. So huge shout out to him. I love that guy. Crushed the remix of the Shangri-La's stuff. I want him to do the full record really badly. I'm trying to convince my dad to
I
push
said
for
the
that.
same exact thing for sure.
Yeah, I need to hear it. So yeah, that was incredible.
So this is kind of a little segue because I will start to wind up here in a few minutes. What current records you got on going? Like what's in your CD player?
Let's pull up. I have to go to Spotify to remember all the names. So we're going to go to that right now. Dude, the new Paramore record has been on repeat recently. So I've been listening to that. It's I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it's This Is Why by Paramore. That's been really good. I've been going through Captain Love by Mock Orange a lot recently. That's a phenomenal record. I'm going back through their discography, and it's so good. The Velveteen stuff. I'm trying to remember that record with Song Eclipses.
Yeah, I know. I forget what it is called.
I can't find it. Yeah, I mean Velveteen. They're insane. There's a. Scrolling through and I'm like, man, I either listen to too much or not enough music. Oh, okay. There's this group there's this group that's called Valise that I really love, and I think the dude that's been drumming with Johnnyswim recently has been playing. He's been playing with them, and he did this record with this band called Valise, and I'm trying to find the name of that right now. That is an incredible album. It's called Young Bloomer. So Young Bloomer by Valise. And then the new Dijon record. I know it's not new. I'm hopping on it now, but Dijon, like the mustard, their newest album is incredible too.
Very cool.
There's just so much out right now, man. There's so much.
I know.
It's also good.
It's ridiculous. You know, when your dad and I were growing up, you know, it'd be like you'd have to search for any morsel of music, and then when you found it, it was like gold. And now it's like in the palm of your hand, which is great. I love it, but it also isn't as fun to go on the journey, like, you know, looking for something, you know.
Not as fun, and I think it counterintuitively like makes me almost like step away from it. I get so overwhelmed with all the options.
Oh, I know.
You know what? I'm gonna stick to what I know. I kind of like these records. I'm gonna just stay in my safe little bubble of the stuff I like. But it, you know, it's a good reminder. I need to branch out a little bit more and start searching for new stuff. I know that there's this app called Radio, and it's like a bunch of O's. I forget how many, but have you heard of this before?
No, I haven't.
So you can, if you download it, it's really cool. You can click on any country and then any like time period, and then it'll play a random song that was released at that time period in that country. And it's a great way to find music that you've never heard before.
That sounds cool.
And a lot of people use it for sampling too, because all of it is, you can sample it right there on the app and then fly it into whatever it is you're making. So it's great for artists, and it's great for just like, I guess, getting inspiration, because you're gonna hear so much that you've never heard before. Yeah. So it's really awesome. I like going to Brazil and going to the 70s and clicking on that, and the songs that are coming out there at that time are awesome. So that's a fun little app in case you ever get bored or in a rut.
Cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Sweet. So what's next up for Flipturn and yourself? What does the future look like?
Yeah, we got off this tour. We're gonna do some festivals like Okeechobee this weekend, but I'm hoping we enter the writing stage again. I think we're all kind of itching, and we need to get our creative juices flowing once more. So I think album 2 will be in the works, and there's a lot of really cool shows that I can't say anything about now, but there's a bunch of really cool announcements coming later this year. We get to do a couple of dates at Mount Joy. We're going to be playing the arena in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
April 20th. That's going to be awesome. Yeah, there's some dates with there's a lot of stuff coming, and I don't know how much I can or cannot say.
Yeah, I got you.
But just be on the lookout. Some dream shows coming this year for sure.
That is super exciting, dude. I'm so pumped for you.
Dude, thank you.
Bro, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
This was such a pleasure and a treat, and it was great getting to talk with you again. I miss you, man.
Well, you got my phone number.
Heck yeah, I'll hit you up, man.
All right, bro. Well, I will let you know when I post this, but it was good talking, and tell your fam I said hello.
Absolutely. Great talks, great hangs. I'll tell the fam that you said what's up.
All right, buddy. I'll try to make out to one of those shows.
All right, sounds good, dude.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate you.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, much love. See ya.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this latest episode. Thank you so much to the listener for tuning in. I really appreciate the support. Again, at The Rumors Are True Cast on Instagram, as well as The Rat Podcast on Facebook. Thank you so much to Devon VonBalson. I really appreciate his time. I know he's super busy hanging with the fam, getting back from tour and resting up. So thank you so much for your time, dude. It was a really cool conversation. And check out the new Flipturn record, Shadowglow. It's really, really good. Super stoked on it. Sounds incredible. And, Devon's an incredible drummer. So check it out. Thanks for hanging. And I'm really stoked for the future, guys. Thank you. Peace.